We have a new item coming to the game. In fact, we have two new items coming to the game, but one of them drops tomorrow, and that is the Big Root. And I want to talk to you about which Pokemon have Big Root energy and which Pokemon are just acting like they have Big Root energy. There are some Pokemon that I think are really good with this item, and in fact, the official tweet from Pokemon right here, new Big Root is coming, recommended Pokemon. They have Venusaur, Goodra, Clefable, that's an interesting one, and they have Pawmot on here. Those are all in different ways good choices for this new item, and I know that they kind of want a variety of what they're going to show here. This item is interesting. It is going to increase the self-healing your Pokemon does. So if your Pokemon heals itself with a move, you will be able to increase that amount. Also, it should be with your basic built-in lifesteal and stuff like that. It probably would combo with Drain Crown, but we're not exactly sure how that interaction would work. One thing for sure is the healing by itself of Drain Crown being boosted by Big Root is probably not enough to be considered for two items on a Pokemon. However, it will make some really funny builds. What I want to go over in this video are which Pokemon have Big Root energy, which Pokemon are maybe kind of close, and which Pokemon feel like they might have it, but actually are a bit bait when it comes to this new item. Come along with me, Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw. So if you just want to look at what I think right now before the item drops and run, you could absolutely do that. There are a few that I could add to this list as well, but these are Pokemon that I think have some real Big Root energy up top, some ones that have some PRE, some possible Root energy, and then some low Root energy Pokemon that are maybe looking like they have Big Root energy. So I think for a Pokemon to be considered for this item, they have to have an absurd amount of self-healing in their kit. They have to be the kind of Pokemon that often end the match with like 50k plus recovery and all of that due to their own kit, really. And they have to be something that brawls a lot. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to take great advantage of an item like this. So I'm going to go through all the Pokemon I talk about here, why I think some are maybe like bait in the low root energy category, and why some are really good up in our Big Root energy category. Let's start with some of our low root energy. So a Pokemon like Urshifu Rapid Strike, I think this one feels like it could have good recovery, but I don't know if the amount is going to be considerable enough. What you are doing is recovering with your Rapid Strikes after you're boosted on 2% of your max HP. So you might actually just get more value out of either building up more HP, running an item like Weakness Policy where your attack is going up, so you're kind of building up multiple elements of where your healing is, and it has base HP as part of its item. I do think like a Pokemon like this is probably bait when it comes to this item, but I do think it's something interesting to try. Zacian has some built-in recovery in its kit. I think its third slash has recovery in kind of its chain of attacks, right? And then it has some natural built-in lifesteal, but as a Pokemon with only 2 item slots, I think this is just unfortunately not enough to be considered on something like this. When you have Aegislash, all of your boosted attacks when you're in shield form actually have pretty solid recovery, and this is one that might be teetering for me. It could be kind of a good item. I just don't know if the recovery is going to be considerable enough for that one move, whereas it might just be better, again, like we talked about with Urshifu, Weakness Policy, a Focus Band, even like a Razor Claw to take advantage of the fact that you're moving in between autos and moves so consistently. Mega Lucario and Lucario have some recovery in their kit. Mega Lucario, I think just the fact that it only has 2 items like Zacian is probably an absolute no. And then Lucario, there just isn't a lot there. Ceruledge is a weird one, because it actually has really solid HP recovery with Bitter Blade, but that's its only situation where you get that, and it also scales so unbelievably high off of its attack stat. It's something like 220% off of its attack stat, that it feels like you just get probably as much, if not more value by stacking your attack weight, your Excel Bracer, something like that. Even, again, weakness, even having another item that lends to doing more damage and using your moves more often might be more beneficial. Mimikyu, another one that has built-in recovery with Shadow Claw. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. The healing is small, but it is multiple hits, right? Like at level 9, like let's say it's about 100 HP recovery per hit, but you could hit 5 times with it. So there is a reality where you could up that a bit, but the increase is small. If you hit with all 5 of them, you know, you may be doing 100 more HP recovery. That feels a little too light. And then we look at a Pokemon like Clefable. They have this listed on their official tweet, and I think it's because of Draining Kiss, possibly. Moonlight has an interesting situation where obviously you are healing yourself, and also when you're healing your allies, you're creating a shield for yourself. But I don't know that the additional HP recovery on yourself is that relevant outside of a Draining Kiss build, which is overall not relevant. Maybe in this, like, it's kind of just an awful build that's just cheesy and fun. Latias is a weird one. The issue I have with Latias is it's a support, and putting even more effort into recovering HP with Dragon Pulse seems like the wrong road to go down, and there's just so many other options. So I feel like it has low root energy, but it does have a nice heal with Dragon Pulse. Gengar's a funny one because Gengar has like pretty good HP recovery on its Dream Eater, which is a weird one, right? Like you hit the Shadow Ball Dream Eater combo and you get this big pop of HP, but it doesn't happen often enough. You're not brawling often enough for it to be a relevant choice, I think. And then with Sylveon, I just think you're only really getting it out of Draining Kiss. I don't know if that's enough. Some of the special attack Pokemon also have Spell Vamp, like Gengar has Spell Vamp. I believe Sylveon has Spell Vamp. I could be wrong about that. But I just don't think these small amounts are enough for Big Root to take an item spot off of something else. And then we have 2 auto attackers here that I just wanted to include because they both have pretty good HP recovery, and even Dragapult has something built into its kit with it, with its Dragon Dance at level 13. Or is it 11? I can't remember which one it gets first. But Decidueye has like 25% lifesteal at level 13 on the, you know, you could find maybe some options on the Razor Leaf build, but I think Decidueye's biggest issue with this and its biggest issue with the Drain Crown build is it's oftentimes it's either you are surviving the fight and you're ripping them to shreds, or you're not because you get burst down so fast. So I don't know if the additional HP recovery matters, and with Dragapult, it feels like it's too little too late for a Pokemon like this. Moving up to our possible root energy, these are all Pokemon that I'm really excited to try this item with, but I'm not sure if it will fully work. So Empoleon obviously has a couple different recovery in its kit. Specifically, its Whirlpool and Hydro Cannon are really solid recovery options for it. I just don't know if the additional recovery you get is going to be that relevant compared to having more special attack, having, you know, even like stacking obviously could be really good. So we'll see if that feels like it's super relevant. I think Whirlpool's recovery is based on the damage it does, so you might just want to lean into that. Then you have Night Slash Meowscarada, which has a lot of built-in HP recovery when you hit with that Night Slash. I think you'd probably be better off just increasing the damage you do or your attack speed, you know, Muscle Band, Scope Lens, something like that. But I for sure want to try this build. Then we have Garchomp, which its boosted attacks actually heal a lot. This is one of the few Pokemon that actually works pretty well with the Drain Crown already. I can't imagine you could run both because I feel like you need something helping your boosteds, and Scope Lens is really good, Muscle Rapid, both really, really good. Drain Crown also probably just a better option, but your recovery on your boosteds could be cool. Zarina is a really interesting one, and this one I might just want to move to Big Root Energy. I'm not sure. This also, Zarina is another one where all of these Pokemon in the kind of like Big Root Energy category, or this possible one, also could be really good with that new, I think it's Tenacious Belt is what it's called, which is the next item coming. But continuing on the Big Root here, your Queenly Majesty on your Triple Axle and your Stomp have good HP recovery. And if you're in battle a lot, you are juggling these moves constantly. The only issue, of course, is it doesn't help your shields at all. So it does help your HP recovery side, but it doesn't help the shielding side. So again, it might just be overall weak to a weakness policy or something like that. Ho-Oh has multiple instances of built-in recovery. I think Ho-Oh could be really cool. You know, there's like multiple ways to get your HP back, whether it's your boosted or your moves. So, and it also has a passive that recovers HP. So I'm not sure how all of it would tie together, but this actually might be like a fair contender for Big Root. Same thing with Dragonite. I might be rating Dragonite too low. Did I say too low? Dragonite too low. I can't speak. We're talking too fast. I think Dragonite might be a little too low right here because its boosteds during Outrage are really solid. So one of its boosteds has, you know, like that stun that's applied to it, but there is a boosted in there. The water boosted, I believe is the one that it is, has the HP recovery attached to it, which is pretty dang good sometimes. So if you get into that combo, you might be able to survive through a bigger engagement with it, but it's also one of the Pokemon that works okay with Drain Crown. Now we move up to Pokemon that I think have incredible root energy. It's just, they are the Pete Davidson of Pokemon Unite right here. So Venusaur, obviously the Petal Dance Giga Drain build. The recovery is already pretty ludicrous, and just increasing something that brawls for a long time with crazy recovery is great. Same thing with Palmon. Its entire kit is based around it, so I could easily see this item being swapped in for something in its kit right now. I often run Muscle, Razor, and then like kind of fill in the blank on Palmon. I might change that to like Muscle, Weakness, Big Root, or something like that. So this one feels like a prime candidate for it. Goodra as well. Obviously, Goodra. I mean, this whole Pokemon, it has like 50 different ways to recover HP. If you're playing the Dragon Pulse build, I think it's probably criminal not to at least try this item. Same thing with Trevenant. Trevenant has so much HP recovery. If you're running Horn Leech, it's absurd. Even Pain Split has good HP recovery attached to it as well. Then you have the built-in kit recovery. I think this is a great one. Greedent's a weird one. Greedent has a lot of HP recovery, especially the Bullet Seed Stuffed Cheeks build, but it's something you're generating by throwing out this heal, but you do it so much, and you take so much damage, and you move in and out of battle with tons of recovery. It might be unnecessary. Like, it might just be more beneficial to stack, like even double stack on this Pokemon, to have something to move you around the battlefield quicker, even to have a score shield, because you can just put so much pressure on the opponent's side of the map. But I definitely want to try it. Lapras, no brainer. Water Pulse Lapras specifically, so much recovery in its kit with its boosteds. You get it so quickly. I feel like this one makes total sense. Azu has two moves, Whirlpool and Aqua Tail, that both have built-in recovery, and both might actually work with this item pretty well. However, I think with Aqua Tail, you might still be better off just getting more, more attack, more damage for its overall recovery. And the fact that when Azu's hitting a single target, it is critting, means every point of attack is kind of worth more on a Pokemon like this. So you might just be better off with other options. Scizor, kind of a no-brainer. You do have a shield in its kit as well, but this could definitely replace an item on Scizor. Like, I love Razor Claw, I love Focus Band. I think Weakness Policy is also really good on these Pokemon that brawl a lot, but I could see dropping one of those three items for the extra recovery you get from Big Root. Maybe Razor Claw, but dang, I love it. But maybe you even drop Razor Claw and you're like, I'm all in on recovering right now. Could be really cool. And then I think a lot of people have, like, their brain is obviously gone, oh, of course, Leech Life Buzzwole. The only issue I have with Leech Life Buzz, and this is not entirely correct, but I find that the recovery on it is already so absurd that I wonder if you're actually getting less value out of trying to max it out as opposed to giving yourself something else, like giving yourself more damage or something like that. Because there are often times where I feel like you're basically recovering your HP to full already. So you might not get as much value as you would like out of it. And that's something to consider, right? If you feel like, okay, yeah, this recovery is great, but oftentimes I'm like recovering all my HP to full with my fill in the blank, my Dragon Pulse anyway on Goodra, maybe I won't need it. But I cannot wait to try out this new item. I think it's going to be really cool, and for some Pokemon, really annoying. There are a few that I left off this list that I think are definitely ones you could talk about. Like, I left Tinkaton off this list. It's got recovery built in. There are a lot of supporters, of course, that have recovery, but I just don't know how relevant it will be for them to recover the HP for themselves. And I'm sure as I made this list, there's like a glaring omission that I'm making. You know, there there are other Pokemon with built-in recovery, like you have Water Shuriken, Greninja, and stuff like that. But I think the amounts are so low that I just feel like I couldn't justify wasting a spot on that amount of recovery. Let me know what you think in the comments. What Pokemon are you most excited to use this new item on? Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. I love you. I'll see you all next time. We did it.